Triple H has this habit of handpicking his favorites, acting like he's the genius who can rebuild WWE through pure wrestlers, but every single time he pushes one of his golden boys, they end up flopping. It's like he refuses to learn that WWE doesn't work the way he wants it to. He grew up loving technical, gritty wrestling, so he tries to recreate that era with his guys from NXT, and then acts surprised when fans on the main roster don't care. His entire booking philosophy feels trapped in a bubble, as if he still thinks the world is watching takeover shows instead of mainstream entertainment. The audience that tunes into Raw or SmackDown isn't the same crowd that worshipped his black and gold brand, but Triple H doesn't get that. He keeps forcing his indie darlings onto a stage built for larger-than-life personalities, and when they crumble under the bright lights, he blames the system, not himself. It's almost delusional how much faith he puts in wrestlers who simply aren't marketable beyond hardcore wrestling circles. He sees someone like Johnny Gargano and thinks he's the next Shawn Michaels, but the truth is, Gargano comes off more like a great side character than a top star. He can wrestle for 40 minutes and tell an emotional story, but on the main roster, where people tune in for spectacle, he fades into the background. Same with Tommaso Ciampa, Karrion Kross, and Keith Lee. Triple H hyped them up like they were generational talents, yet none of them could connect with a mainstream audience. Kross had this brooding entrance and menacing aura in NXT, but the second he walked onto Raw, fans didn't buy into it. Keith Lee was supposed to be this hybrid powerhouse, yet his momentum died instantly. Ciampa got called up and might as well have been invisible. It's not that these guys are bad wrestlers, they're actually phenomenal. The issue is they don't have that presence that makes casual fans care, and Triple H refuses to accept that not everyone he loves deserves to be a main eventer. Triple H's biggest weakness is that he books wrestling for himself, not for the audience. He's obsessed with proving that his version of wrestling, technical, intense, slow burn storytelling, is better than Vince's over-the-top, chaotic style. But wrestling isn't just about what happens in the ring, it's about personality, energy, and emotion. His guys wrestle like they're performing in front of a small crowd that studies every detail, but the average viewer doesn't care about the psychology of wrist locks. They care about star power. That's why people like The Rock, John Cena, and Roman Reigns blew up. They connect beyond the mat. Triple H's guys might be workhorses, but they don't have it, and yet he keeps throwing them at the audience like we're all supposed to be impressed. It's frustrating watching him ignore reality just to protect his ego. He acts like being a Triple H guy is some badge of honor, when in reality, it's become a curse. Once you're one of his chosen few, you're destined to get shoved into big moments that you're not ready for. He builds you up as if you're the future of wrestling, gives you some deep, edgy gimmick, and then watches you sink when you can't hold the crowd's attention. It's embarrassing because he never adapts. He doesn't take feedback from what works and what doesn't. He keeps using the same formula over and over again, expecting a different outcome. That's insanity. He still thinks wrestling fans from across the world want to see long, dramatic promos about respect and legacy, when most fans just want entertainment that feels alive. And don't even get started on his obsession with making every wrestler real and gritty. That worked in NXT because it was intimate, but on the main roster, you need charisma that jumps off the screen. The black and gold era had an audience filled with hardcore wrestling nerds who live for technical precision and layered storytelling. On the main roster, it's kids, casuals, and families who just want to cheer for someone cool. Triple H keeps forgetting that WWE isn't AEW or New Japan, it's mainstream entertainment. When he brings his NXT toys to the big leagues, they suddenly look tiny next to people like Roman Reigns or even LA Knight. They don't look like stars because they were never meant to be part of that scale. He tries to make wrestling about purity, but WWE is about presence. What's even worse is how stubborn he is about protecting them. He'll give his favorites endless chances while other guys who actually get over organically get left behind. Look at how long he's been forcing certain names down the audience's throat, pretending they're underrated when they've had years to connect and still can't. He'll defend them in interviews, praise their passion, and talk about the process. But at some point, you have to admit when someone isn't clicking. He's too attached to his vision, to be honest. That's what kills his own booking. He'll spend so much time trying to make fans like his pet projects that he ends up neglecting wrestlers who could actually become stars if given a shot. It's like Triple H has this fantasy that the world still cares about work rate. He's stuck in the mentality that if someone can put on a classic, they deserve the spotlight. But WWE isn't a five-star factory. It's an entertainment company. The audience doesn't remember every sequence or technical exchange. They remember moments. They remember someone grabbing the mic and owning the room. They remember entrances, catchphrases, rivalries, and emotions. None of Triple H's favorites can create those moments. They wrestle like robots programmed to deliver good matches, but they don't make you feel anything. That's why they fail every single time. The crowd might cheer for a match, but once the lights go out, they move on. Nobody's lining up to buy their shirts or tune in just for them. Even when he he brings in new faces from NXT, he doesn't know how to introduce them properly. He'll throw them onto TV without context, assuming everyone watched NXT and already knows their story. Most people didn't, so the casual fan sees some random guy with an intense expression and dramatic music and just shrugs. Triple H refuses to repackage them for a new audience. He thinks continuity is enough, but it's not. You can't build stars by assuming people already care. You have to make them care. Vince McMahon understood that, even if his methods were crazy. He'd exaggerate characters, give them catchphrases, make them feel huge. Triple H just tosses his guys out there and expects the fans to fall in love because he did. Another reason they fail is that he books everything too seriously. Every feud feels like some Shakespearean drama. Everyone talks in slow, serious tones about destiny and legacy, and it kills the energy. WWE thrives when it feels chaotic and unpredictable. Triple H's version feels like a wrestling museum, polished, respectful, and kind of boring. His favorites fit that exact mold. They wrestle like artists, but the company needs entertainers. There's a difference between being talented and being magnetic. You can be technically flawless and still fail to make people care. Triple H doesn't seem to get that charisma can't be taught or produced in a promo class. It's either there or it's not. What's worse is how he expects fans to stick around for slow burns that don't pay off. He thinks the long-term storytelling he did in NXT will keep people hooked in WWE, but this audience doesn't have the patience for that. When you're airing weekly shows that drag on for 3 hours, you can't rely on subtle storytelling. You have to grab attention fast. His favorites often start with potential, but they lose momentum because the pacing kills them. By the time the payoff happens, nobody cares anymore. The fans move on, the hype dies, and the supposed big star looks like another mid-carder. Triple H also surrounds himself with people who enable him. Nobody tells him when something isn't working. He's convinced that his creative direction is superior to Vince's, but at least Vince knew when to cut bait. Vince would bury someone in a week if the crowd didn't respond. Triple H keeps protecting his guys no matter what, which only drags the product down. He thinks loyalty matters more than results, but this is a business built on reactions. If the fans aren't reacting, it's not working. Yet he acts like the audience is too stupid to appreciate his vision, instead of admitting that his vision just doesn't fit WWE's audience. He's also out of touch with what fans actually find entertaining now. He thinks giving wrestlers creative freedom will automatically make them stars, but most of them aren't creative enough to make that work. They come off awkward or generic. WWE stars of the past were guided by producers who helped them refine their character until it clicked. Triple H's favorites sound like they're all reading from the same script about respect, hard work, and earning opportunities. It's bland. There's no flair, no individuality, no spark. He wants authenticity, but forgets that wrestling thrives on exaggeration. And then there's his obsession with making everything cool. He wants his shows to feel edgy and smart, but that attitude backfires because wrestling isn't supposed to be too self-aware. His favorites always act like they're above the silly side of wrestling, and that kills the fun. Fans want to escape reality for a few hours, not watch someone deliver a dramatic monologue about honor. He strips away the fun elements that make WWE special just to make things feel legit. It's painfully dull. Triple H's mindset is that he's saving wrestling from itself. He genuinely believes he's fixing what Vince broke, but all he's really doing is alienating the broader fan base that actually keeps the business alive. He books for people who already agree with him, not for those who just want to enjoy the show. His favorites are reflections of that, guys who appeal to the hardcore crowd, not the mainstream. And the second those hardcore fans turn on them, they're done. You can't build a company on niche appeal. The truth is, most of Triple H's guys don't have the charisma or versatility to survive long term. They're great in controlled environments, where everything is tailored for them, but WWE is chaos. You have to adapt, connect, and evolve on the fly. His favorites don't know how to do that. They rely on being great wrestlers, as if that's enough. It's not. You can be the best in-ring performer in the world, but if people don't care about your character, you're finished. That's why Roman Reigns, a guy who once got booed out of buildings, became the biggest star. He adapted. He figured out how to make people care. Triple H's guys just wait for the fans to come around, and they never do. It's pathetic watching him try to convince everyone that his taste in wrestling is universal. It's not. It's niche. It's fine for small arenas and diehard fans, but WWE is a global brand. It needs stars who can headline stadiums, appear on talk shows, and sell merchandise. His favorites can't even cut promos without sounding robotic. They don't look comfortable in front of cameras because they were never trained for that level of spotlight. Triple H keeps trying to mold the company into something that fits them instead of finding stars who fit the company. Triple H's biggest failure is thinking he can force fans to care about the kind of wrestling he likes. You can't program passion. Fans gravitate toward people who make them feel something real, not wrestlers who tick every technical box. Every time one of his guys fails, it's not because the fans don't understand wrestling. It's because he doesn't understand his audience. He's trying to turn WWE into a love letter to his own career, and in doing so, he's choking the life out of it. Until he lets go of that ego, his favorites will keep failing one after another because they're built for his fantasy, not for the world WWE actually lives in.